Hello again. This earlier stream cut off. Hesitate to say in my prime, but it cut off at any rate. But the first 50 odd minutes came out, and so I'm going to carry on where I left off. I've just watched the UK column news, and inspired by that, I'm just going to carry on from where I'd got up to. And where I had got up to was I was just talking about this blog which I've done this morning, which is called Through the Needle's Eye, The Future of Global Competition, which is authored, I was reading a paper authored by Gopi Kumar Balusu, who is from India. It's this here, which is a wonderful 27-page discourse upon global. Go and lie down, Ed. It's not supper time. Not recording. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on my stream because it may cut out again. And as I was saying, this tweet appeared from somebody called FUK EU. Criticising it in the most sort of, know-it-all and what I consider to be rather ignorant way. So unusual for me. I sort of decided to get the gloves off and have a go. Come on if you think you're hard enough. And to be honest, I had a good chat to myself, saying, Roger, really. You should know better, but so here we are. So you are an ignorant twat, aren't you? That kind of sums up how I still feel. But anyway, that's what inspired me to just write this blog. And what I said is, it reminded me of Spinoza. This paper, the way that it's sort of argued, and it sets out the. It sets out the terms of its domain, as it were, and then goes on to talk about what models can issue forth within its own. Hello.
Ja, det tycker jag du ska göra. Hallå, hallå.
Hey.
Åh, men tjenare.
Have you got your stuff, Rasmus? Okay, good boy. And have you got everything you need in your bag, or do you just need to take yourself? Are you playing your flute or anything? No? Right, okay. Are we live again? I think we are. Please check video resolution, current resolution, which is not optimal. Okay. Right, I'm going to ignore that. Anyway, so, right, that's my son has gone off to watch the symphony orchestra today in Helsingborg. Anyway, so, right, where are we up to? So, I mean, the blog speaks for itself, really. It goes sort of thing. And then here's No Context Hern. There's the Technocratic Tyranny. Then this is a link then back to Richard Moore's blog, which goes all the way back as well to 1995, Icon Earth as well, etc. And then I had a dialogue with this guy here, John Hearn, who isn't No Context Hearn, but this is the No Context Monetarist. We had a very pleasant chat, which is on the thing. This is a separate video did explaining his version of what Keynesian and monetarism economics falls out over. There you go. Here's the Patrick Byrne techno-terrorist thing from Vicky's blog, Al Gore 92, and then I did this blog, which is Our Only Debt is to Nature and What Is, Environmental Pragmatism, Live and Let Live, and it details Al Gore's 3 strikes. Now, these were the hearings into lyrics in pop music, and this goes all the way back to I don't know if it's the 80s or the 90s. Anyway, Al Gore's wife was on this committee, and this guy Lee Snyder, or Dee Snyder, they had a song out at the time that she claimed was about sadomasochism. He says, no, that's just in your head, it's not about that at all. Here he is, there's Ross Perot, the best president America never had, and there's Al Gore kind of thinking, oh, what's this? As a man that's actually got numbers that work. Obviously Gore's never have and still don't and didn't in this film. That's his 3rd strike, The Inconvenient Truth. Here's Icon Earth link, that's David Malone's so that kind of takes it full circle to really where we're at, and then I've got a blog called, let's just get that up, Cold to Newcastle. We are just going to get a terminal up here. I don't know if this is going to cause problems with the stream, but we'll see. Where's that terminal? Right. So if I do this, IPFS daemon, what this now does is it will open up the port on my computer to the interplanetary file system. That's what it's doing now, and what will then happen is this is the in-browser app for IPFS, and if I go like that I can open the web interface, and here that is too. We're still streaming. And it's going to be slow because I'm uploading and we're streaming. Let's see what's doing to the stream. Error, YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such with buffering. Okay. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, so I'm going to close that, and I'm going to close that. We're going to quit that terminal. Okay. Is that? It should be okay now. I'm pretty sure it is. So the point being that right, this is relevant to the video, which I'm either going to do again or do phase cancellation. Okay, Web3 anti-censorship. This is relevant to this guy here, John Ward, and personal destiny control, and voting for people that stand for what people want locally and stuff. So Web3. So you can see these funny web addresses here. They actually open a file which is on that interplanetary file system, and I've got some already open. But what I wanted to do was, because one of the things I was doing when I was doing that blog on the Eye of the Needle thing, this link here is to the Evans Experientialism philosophy portal put up by a guy called Judd Evans, and Judd and I were correspondents until he died back in 2013, I think it was now, and he was what's known as an eliminativist philosopher, which is pretty close to a thing called solipsism, which basically means the only thing you can prove to exist is yourself. In fact, all that does exist is your own mind. That's not really where Judd was coming from, but he did feel he was a hard materialist. And like, for instance, he referred to brains as brain meat. I mean, you'll find stuff on my blog with discussions that he had with lots of other people, including me. But I opened a number of things in the portal. So, like, for instance, discourses by Epictetus. Also, fragments from Parmenides, and a history of Heraclitus. Now, Heraclitus and Parmenides, David Graeber says, and I agree with him, it's basically what the whole of Western philosophy boils down to, and theology, and you name it, politics, whatever. It's determinism versus free will or libertarianism. Not in the sense of Ayn Rand, who I don't know. Was she a libertarian? I'm sure there are howls going up everywhere about that, but it's an arguable point. And Aristotle, and ta-da, Plato on Parmenides. So that is all available on the Wayback Machine. You'll find that you can look at it on the Wayback Machine in a regular way, but if you actually access it through IPFS, the links within the site work a lot better. And because I basically all of the things that are linked, I uploaded there, and so the navigation between them just works better if you do it on IPFS. So that's just a little heads up with that. There's the Spinoza article. This here is Hannes Elfven's Hubble expansion in the Euclidean framework, and this is the this is an alternative view to Big Bang Theory. and as a personally, I believe in something called the electronic universe. I think that's what's supported by science and evidence and data. Hannes Alfvén also felt that there are quite a few of us, and the woo and the magical thinking of the string theorists, whether they're right or not, we'll never know. But what they are is they're priests putting forward theories based on faith, which is non-physical science, which isn't science, it's metaphysics. Now, I personally have nothing against metaphysics, personally, but metaphysics and physics are two separate things, two different things. One deals with the known and measurable and falsifiable, and the other deals with the whys and perhapses of faith-based belief. And so Quine says it best when he says that he believes in the scientific method, and is a lay physicist qua physicist, but the difference in degree between the gods of Homer and scientific materialism is a difference of degree and not kind. That's kind of paraphrasing what Quine said in a paper called The Two Dogmas of Empiricism. And on empiricism, the other great thing to look at is Rupert Sheldrake's banned TED talk about his book, which is called The Science Delusion, which is a pun on the Dawkins thing. And so just to finish up here, I am just going to mention this. Now, this is a video which is an animated video where famous names of scientists come up according to how famous they are along a particular timeline. And this is the end screen. You've got Carl Sagan down here, Max Planck, Linus Pauling, Louis Pasteur, Robert Oppenheimer, Stephen Jay Gould, Francis Galton, Albert Einstein, Richard Dawkins, Charles Darwin, Marie Curie, Rachel Carson, Niels Bohr, Claude Bernard and Alexander Graham Bell. Now, if we go back to the opening screen, I've got a few there. You've got a whole bunch of other people. You've still got Charles Darwin and Francis Galton. It's interesting that at the end you've got Stephen Dawkins instead of Francis Galton, and Galton was the original eugenicist. And at points in between, Julian Huxley comes up, who's related to Aldous Huxley. And Galton and Huxley was known as Darwin's bulldog. That's right. That was the father of Aldous and Julian, I think. But that's another point. And this, the data on this, which I haven't had a look at, is from here, the Science Hall of Fame, distribution of fame, scientific field, Nobel Prize, blah blah blah. But it's interesting. It's just an interesting thing to watch. I won't put it any stronger than that. I found it interesting. And I'm just going to call it a day there.